I start every segment about Dorian like this. We are absolutely 100% no apologies biased on about Dorian
Oh
because
yeah.
we have followed him literally. His first year in the NBA was our first year covering the Mavs in person, and so we have watched his entire career. We've interviewed him. We've talked to him.
Was it
Uh,
really?
it was, yeah, 2016-17 was the first, at least the first year I was there. Maybe not for you, um, but yeah, it's the first year, and
Yeah,
so
because this is our sixth season. Yeah.
yeah. So we've followed his career and rooted for him. He's one of the people in the NBA we want to succeed the most, but we could still look at him rationally. Last 9 games, Dorian 14 points a game, 5 boards. One of them those an offensive, 2.5 assists a game. That's another thing he's really added is just he's finding an open guy. He's shooting 40% from three with 6 attempts per game in that stretch, shooting 81% from the line. He's a plus 8.7 in the plus minus on average over this 9 game stretch. And the Mavericks are playing really well. The Mavericks are 6-3 in that stretch that he's played. And the one game he missed was against Utah where they lost. So this has been an incredible stretch for Dorian, and he's really coming into his own. He's really starting to play like the 3-and-D wing with a little extra that the Mavs have always envisioned for him to be.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these guys all the time about having the solid role players. Every great team has the role players, has the glue guys that are cheap, cheap contracts, but they play up to those contracts. And we've always been fans of Dorian and Maxey and these guys. It's the broken record of Mavericks just got to figure out, spot 2 and 3 as far as best players on the team. And now we're seeing Dorian even, fly higher, with his wings stretched out here because that, he's averaging a career high in points this year, 10 points a game. He hasn't averaged that. You said assist, 3-point percentage, shooting 38% on the season this year.
Since the start of November, 42% from three.
Let's go. And, played in all 37 games. He's always been a durable guy, 32 minutes a night. So when you look at, I don't know if I would say one of the best like bargains in NBA because without putting like a contract number on it, because I think we could find some guys making like 10, 15 million that you're like this, Steph Curry contracts of the world. But when you look at the bottom of the league of these guys that sign minimum deals up to like $5 million a year, and it's like to be these role player type of guys, that's where I looked at my list and I'm like, all right, I set the bar at $5 million. Who are some of these guys in the league that are making $5 million or less that are having huge impacts on their team that are for these playoff teams specifically that are huge bargains? Dorian is one of these guys.
I took it a step further. Is he one of the best bargains? Because when I think of bargains, I do think of that lower number. So yes, I did look at around that $5 million mark. I went up to about 8 million to see, okay, who's in this range where is there anybody that's a better value than that under 9 million basically is what I looked at. Because if you're at 9 million, that's over double what Dorian is making this year. Dorian's making $4 million this year.
There's 217 players in the league making over $5 million. And the amount of players making more money, annual salary this year than Dorian Finney-Smith is 249 players making more money this year than Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's a lot. And we took out rookie scale deals in our actual list. So there's a bunch of guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander making like $4-something million, right? He's obviously a better player than Dorian Finney-Smith, right? And it would be a better bargain at this point. There's guys like that all throughout that list of players. But our list, let's take a look at some of these players. So these are the minimum guys. Tell me if you would rather have any of these guys over Dorian. These are guys making the minimum. LaMarcus Aldridge, Iguodala, Carmelo, Trevor Ariza, Avery Bradley, basically the whole Lakers team. Dwight Howard, Andre Drummond is on the minimum. That one's interesting. That one's interesting. Drummond's like he's underpaid, I think, right now, which is weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. I'll stop you on some of these names because I made a top five of players under.
All right, yeah, you go ahead and share.
Well, I just said top 5. I made a whole list and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna give 5 players that make under $5 million. And I was going to stop you because I think 2 players are on my list of Aldridge and Drummond. And, Aldridge he's played a crucial role for that Nets team to make what he makes. And I think he's averaging 13, maybe 15 points a game. I'm basically a minimum contract. Like that's dumb to have Aldridge at that number, but that's what you get when you're a Nets team. And Drummond, he comes off the bench. but he's still almost averaging 9 points a game. Shout out to all the Mavs fans who wanted to trade for Drummond.
He was
last
the
year.
key, Isaac. He
was the key to success. But yeah, I had both of those guys for minimum contracts. That's good value.
And that value is like they took less money, right? Is what we're saying. Like they took less money to be in those situations. The other one that I would actually think about is Otto Porter. He's on a minimum. He's
on my top 5. Yeah,
he's in the minimum for the Warriors, and he's actually playing really well this year. I would probably still take Dorian over him just as a player, but Otto Porter's making less money than him this year. So those are the minimum guys that I grabbed. That I was like, maybe some of these guys are.
The only other name I'd add to this, I don't know if he's on the minimum, but I know it's under $5 million. Is Bielitsa. And so I mean my top 5 of this list of non-rookie contract guys making under $5 million was Aldridge, Drummond, Bielitsa, Otto Porter Jr., and Dorian Finney-Smith. And the thing that even sets Dorian outside of those guys is the fact that Dorian's averaging over 30 minutes a game. He's starting every single game, of all these different lineup combinations that are being thrown out there. He's always the one that's going to be in that. 37 games started. And he just does all the dirty work to where, like, I think Bielitsa is amazing value for the Warriors, but the dude's averaging 7 points and he comes off the bench and plays, 15 minutes a game, something like that. So it's all about
his role.
Yeah, he plays this role, he plays it well, but it's all about what's the value of this. And even making these type of rankings whenever Dorian's averaging 32 minutes a night and starting every game. So this is why it's these exercises that shows I'm like, dang, man, Dorian at this value is insane.
Let me throw you the rest of the players that I had that were either around his number of 4 million, or they're obviously all above the number of 4 million, but are in that range. Bobby Portis making 4.3.
Solid value. Yeah.
Solid value. Still not like a guaranteed starter on a team that, is in the playoffs. Jeff Green and JaMychal Green, both around 4.5 in that range for the Nuggets. Jeff Green was really good for the Nets last year. He was sort of in that, kind of in the LaMarcus Aldridge role, different players, but Taj Gibson making 4.9. Tibbs' guy. Lou Williams making $5 million. Kendrick Nunn hasn't played yet, but he's making $5 million for the Lakers. That's another one that's
I don't even know what to think about him.
A little inflated. And we have no idea what he's going to be on the Lakers because we haven't seen him yet. Kevon Looney, starter on the Warriors, making $5.1 million. That's a pretty good deal. That's in the same vein as Dorian right now.
Yeah.
Just $1 million more.
Yeah.
Another weird one, Dennis Schroeder, $5.8 million.
That's so weird.
Him and Rudy Gay making $5.8 million. Those are two
we
guys.
Sure he brings solid value though?
He's averaging like 18 points a game. So he's putting numbers up. Here's one that got me thinking. I was like, all right, who's the best bargain in the NBA? This is another one a little inflated because of the team he plays on. Patty Mills making $5.8 million.
No, well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the best and that's why when you say what's the best bargain in the NBA, when you start looking at numbers like that, like Patty Mills is probably one of the top answers to that. He's a better basketball player than Dorian Finney-Smith.
Finney-Smith, let's qualify it. The best non-ring chasing bargain in the NBA.
Best non-ring chasing, non-rookie contract guy making.
Yeah, we qualified it twice already.
Sounds like an ESPN stat.
I know. It's like
on
one of those
Thursday evenings in the late game in the third quarter from the left corner. Steph Curry's
32.1 minutes per game. Right. Couple others that are just pretty good bargains. PJ Tucker, $7 million. Zubac, $7.5 million. Our boy Seth Curry, 8.2. Caruso, 8.6. Royce O'Neal, 8.8. And Maxey, 8.8. But those guys are all making double what Dorian makes. So that's what we're talking about.
No Whiteside. Didn't know if you.
Here's 4 players, and we'll end here, that are making more money than Dorian Finney-Smith this year to not play.
Monte Ellis.
The Lakers are Monte Ellis is still getting paid, but he's not making more than $4 million this year. The Lakers are still paying our friend Luol Deng $5 million this year to not play.
This is a good tweet right here.
Miami is paying Ryan Anderson $5.2 million to not play for them this year.
Dang.
The Knicks are paying Joakim Noah $6.4 million to not play this year and to hang out and do whatever Joakim Noah does. And the last one, the name you haven't heard in a long time.
Josh Smith.
The Orlando Magic are paying Timofey Mozgov $5.5 million to not play this year.
Make that bank. Timmy, Bobby Bonilla.
I should have tweeted that out during the game the other night. That would have gone.
Hey, I think Jared Vanderbilt is a solid deal too.
What's he making?
He's making under 5, and you would think that it's a rookie contract, but he was a second round pick like 4 years ago. So he already finished that contract and then signed. He was with the Nuggets, then signed with the Timberwolves, and I really like his game, and I think it's a good value for them.
That's solid. Obviously, I would still pick Dorian over him, but yeah.
But I think he has it's a similar type of game that I think could, like, what they ask of him and what you like, this defensive guy energy type thing. Like, it's just a good value, I think.
He's just
Campazzo too, I think is a.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
I think he's solid value too coming off the bench. I mean, he shouldn't be a starter, but coming off the bench, he's annoying. So
yeah, he's starter by necessity for that team, all their injuries. So there you go. Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the best qualified bargains in the NBA after we did that. So there you go. I will be